We do an annual acknowledgement of U.S. military personnel and their families. When I found out who our next speaker is Joe Phillips, he's our equipment training manager and he works for me. And when Devine suggested that he be our next speaker, I thought, oh my Lord, what is he going to say? So Joe Phillips, a fantastic human being, heavy equipment expert, an ODOT employee for 20 years. He works for me in the employee development department, served as you might not know this, a U.S. Navy CB, whatever that is, CB, that's kind of fun to say, CB for 9 years. Joe, please don't embarrass me.
Did you really think giving me a microphone in 10 minutes was a good idea? Veterans Appreciation. When Devine talked to me about this, I was kind of honored. To say it's in my blood is an understatement. Both my grandfathers served in World War II. My dad's dad was killed in action. My mom's dad was a B-17 pilot who was shot down twice and spent 21 months in a VA hospital. My dad was in the Navy during Korea and Vietnam. My father-in-law was in Germany in the Air Force and served with Johnny Cash. So, you know, you never know what you run into. He also had the distinction, and he's listed in the book, Walk the Line, of telling Johnny, you have no talent. I tell that story because every time my kids have screwed up, I point to my wife and go, you can see where their judgment comes from. Your dad told Johnny Cash you had no talent. 3 of my uncles served in Korea and Vietnam. I was, as Nick said, a U.S. Navy CB for 9 years. My oldest son is a 3-tour of Iraq, Operation Iraqi Freedom vet. My middle son is an Operation Iraqi Freedom vet, along with one of my daughter-in-laws. My youngest son is not in the military. His mother wouldn't permit it. She was like, nope, not happening. I appreciate veterans. Like a lot of vets, I try to thank every person that I see with a U.S. Army retired hat, Navy, somebody that's still in uniform, to thank these kids when they go. Any of us who ever did that, put that uniform on, it changed you. It made me, right, wrong, or indifferent, who I am today, and I'm grateful for it. If you're currently an active reservist, National Guard, or a veteran, if you'd stand, we'd like to say thank you. So whoever's in here in the room, please stand up. For most veterans, the commitment to active duty never ends. I can tell you that I would go back if I could. Both of my boys were injured on active duty. I would have taken either one of their places, and both of them would tell you they would go back. That's why we have to appreciate vets. That commitment never stops. But I want to talk about a group of people that serves right along beside them, the families. People don't talk about the families. I never thought about it for the longest time. I didn't know that my mother worried about me being gone. I just thought she was happy to have me out of the house. That was my dad that was happy to have me out of the house. How many of you in here are old enough to remember the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite? And the rest of you are liars. My grandfather would not allow us to talk during the CBS Evening News because at the end of that program, they scrolled the KIAs and the MIAs. And that was how they found out back there. And he would sit and watch, because I had 2 uncles in Vietnam. Both of his sons were there at the same time. I can remember that vividly, and him saying, watching that and waiting for that news was harder than being shot down twice. He served every day they served. My wife had a bumper sticker that read, toughest job in the Navy, Navy wife. And I was an E3 to an E5 while we were in the battalion. And she told me one time her job title was mother, father, cook, maid, chauffeur, nurse, t-ball, football, soccer coach, home and school counselor, disciplinary, and financial advisor. I disagree with that last one because we never made enough money to advise anybody on anything financially. We wondered who was paid next month was only. The families at home, especially now, have it so much harder when there's an active conflict going on than sometimes even the veterans. Trying to explain to a toddler every single day where daddy is, where mommy went. Newlyweds, people that get married right before deployment. Got to be the dumbest thing ever. Pregnant wives, babies born while you're on deployment. I had that happen to me. Watching a kid grow up via video. Of course, we didn't have internet and phones back then either, but teenagers who really need their parents. All those things happen while they're out serving. Spouses pacing the floor, parents wondering when the deployment's going to end. I can tell you that when somebody you love is overseas, that's a long year. That is one long year when they're gone. We got a call from my middle son, 2:30 in the morning. Those phone calls are never good. Saying, I'm okay, don't panic, I'm on my way to the hospital. You know, that whole panic thing didn't work. Him saying that, my wife going, what is it? Who is it? He was a firefighter. They had a C-130 come down on fire. The seals in his gloves failed and the water seeped inside, and he was a nozzle man, and it got so hot that it actually boiled while he had his gloves on. He still to this day has scars with that. My oldest son had a friend send us a text while he was in Mosul in Iraq saying, if the Air Force calls, he's okay. He was a lead vehicle in a convoy, was a convoy commander, hit an IED, flipped his truck, blew out his eardrum, tore out his shoulder, fractured his nose. Didn't seem to bother him any. He has video of it. The rear vehicle was panning in his video. My wife still won't watch it. It was 9 years ago. She still won't watch it. The first time he went. He wants me to see the video, and I don't watch it either. I grew up on a farm, son of a no-nonsense military man. I'm an equipment operator, Harley rider, football coach. Men don't cry, right? Ever. We don't do that. Well, 4 times in my life. I think they were all acceptable. Anybody remember the movie Brian's Song? Brian Piccolo died, you can cry. That's allowed. So we could do that. I had a 72 Chevy Nova that caught fire and burnt down. Dude, I cried for a couple days over that one. When I signed my first mortgage and got that last page of how much I was actually paying for that house, that was a bad day. And then when each one of my sons came home from active duty, those were tough. I have to preface this next part by saying that you guys, I know 2/3 of the people in this room. You guys all know I'm a soft-spoken, compassionate, easygoing person, right? I don't get upset loud. Nick Nicholson gave me an award one time for being the most soft-spoken person in our division. So I walk into the house, and my wife is sitting in the middle of the floor, sobbing hysterically. I don't see blood. I don't see bones. Doesn't look like anything's broken where she fell. I said, what's the matter? All I got was, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? Look outside, and I see a U.S. government car in our driveway with 2 people inside in uniform. They were recruiters looking for a kid a couple doors down. She thought they'd come to tell us one of the boys had been killed. 2 hours we sat on the floor trying to get her calmed down. Of course, you know, she's not all there anyway. It's proof she married me. She can't be stable. Not all wounds are visible. They really aren't. Some scars never heal. My oldest son does have some PTSD. There's a lot of vets coming back with it. And the thing you have to remember is the families suffer right along with these people. Every day they go to treatment, the family goes, somebody's there, somebody's with them. When you serve a day in the military, somebody in the family serves with you. I hope every day is about Veterans Appreciation. I hope we don't just do this once a year. I certainly try not to, but I hope we think about and remember the families that serve with them. Thank you.